guys, today we're talking about a topic that's all too common in our lives, the dreaded burnout. Whether you're a student, a professional, or you're juggling multiple roles, you've probably been burnt out at some point, or you're currently burnt out, which is why you're watching this video to begin with. I've personally come out of some serious burnout, so I wanted to make this video to share my experience, some things that I've learned, how to recognize the signs, and how to recover from burnout. Because I feel like at this day and age, burnout is almost inevitable, but it doesn't have to be. So let's dive in, let's do a little chat, and let's break it down together. First, let's talk about what burnout really is. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It can make you feel overwhelmed, drained, and unable to meet constant demand. Recognizing the signs of burnout can help you take action early if it hasn't fully progressed, or if you're in the chronic burnout stage, it might give you the wake-up call to get the help you need so that you can get out of it. It usually is present in 5 stages. Now, the first stage is known as the honeymoon stage. This is exactly what it sounds like. You maybe just started a new job, you're starting your new program at school, something new is in your life that you're taking on and you're excited about it. Have you guys experienced that initial burst of enthusiasm? Let me know in the comments. For me, I remember I got my first job in the project management space. So this is the space that I'm currently working in. It was like a project coordinator, it was like a project assistant role, and I was super excited. It was at a great company, there were great people. I thought the job was exciting. Not only was it a new role, but the role never existed before I came in. So it was actually a net new role. They had no real job description when they told me in the interview, and they just basically said that it was going to be up to me to sort of define the role and make it my own. I was so excited, I had so many ideas. I was like, okay, this is how we can organize it, this is what I can do, blah, 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 blah. It was just a high. Now, this stage doesn't have to lead to burnout, but if you're like me, being in a new environment can be really overwhelming and overstimulating. So it's hard to see past that initial peak of excitement when you're currently in it. I think the main thing to remember when you're in this stage, if you want to avoid burnout, is that life ebbs and flows, okay? The excitement, the freaking enthusiasm and creativity you feel right now about this new prospect is not gonna last. If it is gonna last, it's not gonna last consistently. And you have to prepare yourself for the fact that this high is unrealistic, it's unsustainable, and the only way you could maintain this high is if everything in your life stayed exactly the same, which it can't because you're starting something new. So as soon as you start to learn the role, you're not gonna be in that new, fresh, enthusiastic state anymore. So if you can remember that life is always lifing, and what you feel right now is not necessarily how you're gonna feel even a week, a month, a year from now, then you should be good to manage your expectations and avoid burnout. But if you're like me and you don't really see those things when you're in them because it's so overwhelming and exciting, or you already passed the stage, then keep watching because we're getting into the next stage. The next stage is the onset of stress stage. This is when you're coming out of that initial high and the stress starts to creep in. So you might be feeling irritable, you might have anxiety, you might notice decreased productivity, and you might just have an overall job satisfaction that goes down a little bit. I still think this phase is pretty normal because again, we cannot live in the honeymoon phase forever, but it's a phase that is very subtle. So if you don't notice it, you quickly get thrown into the next stage, which is what I think happened to me. Pause for a tea break. Perfect. Now, when you sit in the onset of stress stage for too long, it becomes chronic. And the chronic stress stage literally comes when the stress never goes away, but only worsens. So the anxiety is still there, the irritability is still there, the will to work continues to go downhill, but you also see new symptoms. You might have physical symptoms like headaches and stomach issues. For me personally, my anxiety was getting so bad that every time I would breathe in, it felt like a knife was stabbing through my heart. I don't know if any of you guys get this. Let me know if you do. Maybe that's your symptom.
Maybe not.
The physical symptoms show up in so many ways, so do a self-assessment and check in with yourself to see how am I doing, see if you can notice any changes in yourself, because that's how we sort of catch ourselves before we fall into these deep holes. Another symptom might be social withdrawal. You might also feel persistent tiredness. I could get 10 hours of sleep, I was still tired. I could get 7 hours of sleep, I was still tired. Like, you just can't escape it. You're always exhausted. I would try to go to bed earlier, it never helped. I need my sleep, so this was the worst part of it for me because I couldn't feel rested no matter what happened. And then lastly, increased procrastination. So other things start to fall off your plate. I think that happened for me in the sense that I only worked. Like, it was sleep, eat, work. I'm sure I had other duties in my life, but they were not on my to-do list. Therefore, they were procrastinated. I don't even know what else I was doing in my life. Overall, I think this stage sucked for me and was the absolute worst. If I could describe it, it would be like trying to keep yourself treading above water with a 20-pound weight attached to your foot. You're trying to make things work, but you know that you're doom is coming. You know inevitably you're gonna run out of energy and you're going to drown. That's what this stage felt like for me. Hate it. If you're in it right now, I know exactly how you feel, but keep watching this video because we need to get you out. If you continue in the chronic stress stage, you have officially hit the burnout stage. Not a congratulations, whatever the opposite of congratulations is, you are now pretty much at rock bottom.
Almost. It does get a little bit worse.
So not only are you going to continue to struggle in the areas that you were before, but there's also a depressive aspect to it now. You get this feeling of helplessness, a sense of failure. I literally felt like I was the worst person. Doesn't make sense now that I'm sitting out of it, but in that state it was like,
bruh, I've let everybody down. I'm terrible. I'll never make it. They're gonna catch on. They know they're gonna fire.
Like the thoughts just continued. And while I would love to say that this is the last stage, there's one more stage after. And when you continue in that stage of burnout, it becomes part of your life. You have entered the habitual burnout stage. I'm laughing, but that's not funny. Yeah, this part's just honestly depressing. Essentially, you've pretty much given up. You don't have a social life. You don't have any life outside of this activity that you're getting done. You're tired all the time. You're depressed, and you're basically laying on your back and saying, well, this is me now. No Demi Lovato, because you're not exactly where you're supposed to be. At this point, you usually need professional help because the mental toll of burnout, I can't even describe it. It's just so much darker and heavier than you can imagine. Unless you're currently in it, then you know. And yeah, you need to get out. This is why it's so important to catch yourself in the earlier stages, because you do not want to hit this point. Now, I know I just got darker and darker, but recognizing these stages and understanding them is the first step to preventing yourself from going through burnout or to catching yourself in it and getting the help that you need. So now you know the 5 stages of burnout. Let's talk about recovery. Now, if you find yourself in any of the stages of burnout, it's important that you seek help and guidance, even if it's the honeymoon stage. If you find you're in the honeymoon stage right now of any job, activity, new role, new experience in your life, seek some guidance. This is the time that it's the best because it's way better to be proactive than reactive. It's a lot harder to get out of the following 4 stages than it is stage 1. But the good news is if you're watching this video and you're in stages 2 to 4, you're already doing the work to get yourself out of it. So congratulations. You're doing better than me, babe. And that's what we want. The first thing I've done that I suggest, but isn't pretty extreme of a suggestion, is to change your environment. If you're in an extreme stage of burnout, this might be your only option. For me personally, I did have to resign from my job because that was truly, in my head, the only way that I could see myself getting out of that state. I knew that I took on too much, and with the anxiety that I had around, just asking for help, it just wasn't possible. It sounds like I worked at a terrible place. The people were great. The job was perfectly fine and great. Like, everybody was so nice. And I know that if I had just, set up a meeting and said, hey, I'm in over my head, I'm stressed out, I need to take things off my plate, I know now that I would have been supported. But at the time, the anxiety was so bad. I was deep in my people pleaser era. There was no way. There was no way I was gonna show up and say,
hey, I accidentally took on too much and I need you to take it off my plate.
It was just too much. So what I did was, I handed in my resignation, I got a new job, I started at that job. Spoiler alert, I also burned out at that job. Yeah. That's because I didn't have this video here to really recognize. So if you feel like the environment that you're in is absolutely, there's no way out, and that if you stay, you're just gonna become a shell of yourself, then you might want to consider changing your environment. But I never recommend just quitting a job and not having another one lined up. So if you want to understand job hopping and honestly how you can raise your salary through it, watch my video. Don't know where it's going to be linked. Maybe it's here. And I've got some other job resume tips, ChatGPT tip videos on my channel as well. You can watch those. So maybe changing environment is right for you, but if not, let's get into the next tip. Tip number 2 is to seek support. If you're in the later stages of burnout, it's actually almost a requirement. You're gonna need to seek some support, like a therapist or a family friend. No matter which stage, try and talk to someone about what you're going through, because sharing that will get the weight off your shoulders and might give you some clarity to know what kind of steps you want to take to get yourself out of this place. If you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to, that's a farce, because you got me. I'll reply to my comments. Comment below. Let's talk about it. Also, you guys, like my subscribers and people who comment, are really, really supportive. So I'm sure they'll be just as supportive in the comments below. If you need to talk about something, you want to vent, we're right here. I'm right here. Go comment, okay? Third tip is about setting boundaries. This is a whole YouTube video in itself, but long story short, learn how to say no. and it's way easier said than done, but this is the main thing that's going to keep you out of burnout or get you out of burnout. Let me know if you guys would like me to make a video on it, but even if you don't want me to, I'm probably going to, because boundaries are so much more important than people understand. And being a recovering people pleaser, I didn't realize the impact of boundaries in my life, and I didn't realize that I didn't have any. You got to learn to just make space for yourself to have the time to get the things you need done, but also the time to rest and recharge so that you can continue to show up 100% for yourself. Next, you need to find ways to manage your stress. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga. For me, recently, I'm a runner girly, and I've been going to the gym. After recently starting running, I find that that helps me get into the meditative state. So I'm not saying you got to do it by the classical yoga Zen way, but if that works for you, do it. Find any type of activity that gets you in a state of Zen or stress relief and start putting time in your calendar to do that thing. Make time for activities that recharge your battery. If you're an introvert, that might be things that are more alone. If you're an extrovert, that might be planning time for social outings so that you can recharge and get the energy that you need from other people. Whether it's exercising, reading, or spending time with loved ones, make time for the things that fill your cup. If you're a reader, don't feel like all the books you have to read need to be self-help either. Indulge in the fantasy book, okay? They're really good. I'm currently reading the Throne of Glass series. Oh my god. It's so nice to read a book that's not telling me how to live my life, but not only that, like, it's so well written. If you guys are reading that series, let me know what you think of it. I'm currently reading The Assassin's Blades. I'm loving it. I've loved the first 2 books. I'm loving this 3rd book. I can't wait to get through the series. So find something that you like and do it simply for the sole purpose of filling your cup. And lastly, create a sustainable routine. Creating a sustainable routine is key to preventing burnout in the future. You can do that by 1, setting realistic goals. You want your goal to be big enough that it's something that excites you, but at the same time, you want to break down your goal into ways that are achievable and don't overwhelm you. If you want to watch how to achieve your goals, watch it here. I gotta figure out where they get posted, but link is up there, and set goals that you can feel excited about accomplishing. You should also be taking breaks. Schedule some regular breaks throughout your day. If it's just to stand up, if it's just to go outside for a 10-minute walk, if it's just to have a little dance sesh, do it, okay? Stay organized. Being organized helps you reduce stress because you're staying on top of the things that you need to get done, and you're not sort of like procrastinating and letting it all fall on you at the last minute. Maintain a work-life balance, and you do that by prioritizing those earlier things that fill your cup, the things that reduce your stress. Prioritizing that helps you to build a work-life balance. You should only be looking to work for the standard hours of work that there is. If it's a 7.5-hour day, 4-hour day for you, whatever that is, that's when you should be working. When you log off, that's when you should be lifing. I would love to know what self-care activities you guys enjoy, so let me know in the comments. I am really into running right now, so I think I'm probably gonna make a YouTube video about that as well, because your girl is training for a 10K and a half marathon. Like, it is serious. Last thing for you to know is that recovery is a journey. If you are starting your recovery phase now, just know the journey looks different for everybody. The longer you spend in these burnout stages, the longer it takes to recover. I was in some serious burnout from 2021 to like early 2023. I'm just on the up and up of recovering from burnout. It's gonna look different for everyone, but I can honestly say it's worth it. You're worth it. Get yourself back, get your life back. It feels so good to finally have a hobby again and to not be stressed out at work and to have boundaries. So there is a beautiful side to it that's waiting for you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. If you'd like to know how to be more productive so that you can reduce your stress and accomplish more, watch this video here. Is it gonna be here? I hope it's here. I talk about simple productivity tools to help you start organizing your life for everyday people. It's not the download 600 apps, it's the I want to get started today, bit by bit, organize my life, be more productive. So take a look at that video. So happy to have you here. Love you. Bye.